Om Shanti. The evening before we meet Baba is always one of great anticipation. We know Baba is coming, we're already invoking Baba, and Baba's already feeling our love and pull, and Baba's already sending us lots of love in return. So I'm sure you're experiencing all that already. And so it's a great privilege to be meeting you just before we meet Baba. And the topic for now, inspirations for the new year. Baba's Avyakt Muralis of recent times have been very, very powerful. I'm thinking about the Avyakt Revision Course Muralis in particular, though I find that the Sakar Muralis also share very, very powerful ideas, but the Avyakt Muralis condense those ideas into something which is very manageable in terms of understanding and remembering, and then the practice. And that, of course, is up to each one of us. But I was thinking that maybe one of the things that we should be aiming for in terms of the coming year is stability. The other day Baba said that Baba doesn't like the words sometimes and something. So sometimes, yes, I'm okay sometimes. And is everything okay? Yes, but there's a little bit of something that's still there. So Baba was talking about being able to have the stage where we're able to maintain a stability in terms of our relationship with Baba and the stage that we would like to have. And so the two words that Baba used were controlling power and ruling power. And most people don't realize that they have control issues until people start pointing it out to them. And usually at first there's denial. Me? Control? No. And then you begin to notice once people say, but what about this, what about this, what about that? And then you can see that, yes, these are the things that I have been trying to control, but impossible. The only thing that I can control is myself. And it's strange that we don't start there, we try to start out there. But once we start looking at what's going on inside, and then we see what it is we like to control within. And maybe what we would like to control inside is a certain level of stability in which all the treasures that I'm receiving from Baba are with me at all times, not sometimes, and all the treasures are there, not just something and not another thing, but a very lovely comment from Baba. Baba's the almighty authority, so how come all the powers are available for me and I'm not taking all the powers? But if I choose to, just to be stable in the awareness of who I am as a child of God, and all the powers come and they're available for me. So when I say stability, it's like shorthand language for all of these things. Can I be stable in my own inner state of peace? And then Baba tells me, yes, you can be, but before you can be peaceful constantly, you have to be pure. And I begin to see the connection of purity and peace. And I can see that if there's anything not quite clean in my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions, then my peace gets disturbed. And so before I can come to a stable state of peace, I need to come to a very elevated, pure state in which everything else has been cleaned out and the soul has come back to its original pure state. It was a bit of a shock the other day when Baba said, well, Sakar Baba, Avyak Baba is very open and tells us exactly where we're at. Number 1, number 2, number 3. And many of the Avyak Murlis describe the level of 1, 2, and 3. And then you have to see, well, where am I at? But the other day, Sakar Murli was about how if the physical senses are still pulling, what does that mean? If my eyes are still seeing something and I want it, if my eyes are still getting distracted by name and form, if my ears hear something and I'm feeling it's interesting, I want to hear a bit more. So different things. I like something and so I can smell it and so my mouth starts watering. To what extent am I still being pulled by the physical senses? Or have I become a ruler of my senses? You can see that this sort of checking and changing means real attention on the self. And where Baba's comment was, well, only when I've actually gone beyond the pull of the physical senses, then I'm even at the stage of the Silver Age, Sato. Never mind the Golden Age yet, that's still more work to be done. So last week it was this, and then again, a couple of days ago, it was again from Sakar Murli. You're still Rajo Pradhan, you're not yet Sato, you're still at the level of the Copper Age. And Baba was talking about the majority. And I can't say, well, that was X years ago and it doesn't apply now, because my sense is that every time Baba's speaking a Murli and we're hearing a Murli, it's relevant to that moment here and now. And so that state of actually becoming pure, you can see the external signs of that. Have I conquered the physical senses? And then beyond that, have I been able to conquer the inner senses? Baba spoke about holding a court, and I'm sure many of you understood, but I had a few emails asking me, what does Baba mean? And so Baba referred to his own diary and how Baba used to keep a diary and write how he was holding court. And so what Baba meant by that was that in the early 1930s, before Shiv Baba entered Brahma Baba, a diary from 1932 through to 34 was one that Lachu Dadi was Brahma Baba's Brahmani, so she cared for Baba's physical needs. And she used to keep all the things that were part of Sakar Baba's treasure store, including this diary. And it was written in Sindhi, and the Sindhi script goes from right to left with just a few squiggles. It's just squiggles. And in that, Baba's talking to himself and the soul, and this is through introversion. Baba had become more and more introverted, and Shiv Baba was preparing him and touching him, and he was writing in his diary at night, who is the one in charge? The king is calling all his ministers and is asking, who is in charge? Are all my senses obedient? Are they following my law and order? And he's talking to his mind. Are you still playing games, or are you still obedient? What is it? How can I make you become obedient? So Baba's talking to himself and writing all of this. And so that's what Baba was talking about, holding a court. Early days in Karachi, and they would actually in the evenings have a gathering, and Mama would sit with the sisters and somebody would sit with the brothers, but Mama sitting with the sisters, and the first question would be, does anybody want to speak about anything wrong that they have done? And whoever it is who wanted to speak would speak. And then the next question was, has anyone seen somebody do things that were not right? And so you had your chance to speak and be honest, and if you weren't, there was another thing that would happen after that. And so you very quickly learned it was better to speak about it yourself. But the environment that Baba and Mama had created was one of such pure love that when people spoke about their weaknesses and their mistakes, nobody kept it in their hearts or in their minds. It didn't affect them in the way that they would then change their attitude or their vision or behavior with that individual. They were able to maintain a relationship of love and respect with everyone around them. And then, after the days of Karachi, Baba decided, okay, that the lessons that needed to be learned from that were done, and no need to continue in that way. And then, of course, at the centers, it's never happened like that. But now Baba's saying, reminding us, you don't need to hold a court in which you talk about your mistakes in front of everyone, but be honest with yourself and ask yourself, what's going on? Is my mind obedient? Is my intellect clean and divine, as Baba wants it to be? To what extent have I been able to cleanse my sanskars and purify them? And if you keep having this court, checking yourself in this way, asking what's going on, and is the kingdom inside running peacefully with harmony and love, or is there a tussle going on? And imagine when my feelings are in one direction and Baba's directions are in another direction, what happens then? Recently, I was asked many questions about the heart, and of course we're not talking about the pumping machine, we're talking about feelings and emotions. So thoughts go a bit deeper, and you come to the stage of feelings, and even deeper within the unconscious are the emotions that we carry from who knows when. But certainly thoughts you can track back, feelings you can also identify. Where is it that this particular feeling started? But then there's another layer below that you can't always identify immediately, but things come up, and sometimes they come up from the memory. And the whole question about, well, should I be following my heart? It's something that people often say, well, surely it's important to listen to what my heart is saying. And if you actually begin to look at what's going on and ask yourself, should I be following my feelings or should I be following my conscience? Then it becomes very clear. Using the word heart makes it very romantic, and then you think, yes, following my heart is the most important thing I need to do. But what is it? It's actually my feelings, and my feelings swing like this. One moment it's here, the next moment it's here. And so, is it useful to be following my feelings? Where is it going to lead me? And so surely what I want to do is to be able to clean out my feelings so that there isn't a tug of war between my conscience and Baba's Srimad, because if I'm sitting quietly, looking inside, then definitely what Baba is saying, Srimad, is what my conscience is agreeing with. I don't think there can be a situation where Srimad says one thing and my conscience says another. There's often been situations for some people where Srimad says one thing and my heart says another. But never the other way, that Srimad says one thing and my conscience says something else. No. My conscience, and of course I'm using the word conscience, but it's part of the awakened buddhi, the awakened intellect. And so one part of, or one of the functions of that is seeing what's right, what's wrong. And so what Srimad is saying and what my divine intellect, my conscience is saying, will always tally together. And again, if I think about my own experience and I say, well, what was the result of following my mind, my thoughts and my feelings up until now? Where did that get me? Got me into a lot of trouble. And if I were to follow Srimad, what's going to be the result of that? When I recognize Baba, and I recognize that Baba is the benefactor, then surely the instructions of my benefactor are always, always going to be of benefit. And so to come to that point of stability where my mind, my feelings, my emotions, my heart, and Srimad and my conscience are all working in a way that's aligned without creating a struggle or a war inside, means cleaning out my feelings, cleaning out the heart. And that happens with understanding. A lot of it is to do with understanding, but not only understanding. Maybe when I sit in silence and I can feel Baba's love reaching me, then the power of Baba's love is going to be able to clean my feelings, and I'll be able to see how to again align my feelings with what Baba would like for me. And so stability means sorting things out inside and going through that process of cleansing. And when I've been able to do that, yes, then I'm going to be able to come to a point where peace is with me all the time. Memories aren't coming to shake me. That also has been through a process of cleansing. Daddy used to say quite often that you've got your mind focused on Baba, Man Mana Bhav. You've got your intellect filled with Gyan. And then suddenly there's upheaval. What is it that's happened? What's been triggered? And she uses the word chit. And so the memories that are embedded within the soul from this birth, sanskars are the imprints I carry from past births, but the chit, the memories that I hold now. And different things will trigger my memory. Maybe it's seeing something, seeing someone. Maybe it's the smell of something. Maybe it's hearing something, some music. I remember just pre-Gyan, before I properly came into Gyan, I would hear music and specific types of music, and these were the old film songs from the Hindi movies, and my mother sometimes used to play those. And some of them especially would trigger, it would be like going back into the past somewhere and I didn't know where. And when I came into Gyan properly, and then Dadi Ratan Moini was in London for about a year and a half, when the centre had started initially. And she had time, I had time, so we had lots of time for chit-chat. And at one point I asked her about these old film songs. And she said that these were the songs that they used to play in the early days of the yajna. And we didn't go into it anymore, but that was enough to remind me and to tell me that that must have been what was happening. The memory of those songs was somewhere very deep within the soul, and they would emerge. So music sometimes triggers things of this birth or even past births. And it was a very good feeling, a very sweet feeling. But what about the memories that are triggered of not such sweet experiences? The problem with that is that if I'm carrying sorrow still within the self, and not in a conscious way, but it's there within my memory, that sorrow is going to come up from time to time, and it's going to disrupt my feeling of happiness and being with Baba. And if I'm not happy, I can't have yoga. Who's had that experience? I'm sure many, and you don't have to tell me. But when I'm not happy, yoga isn't actually possible. And definitely, when you're not happy, then your dharana, your interaction with others, your behavior with others isn't as sweet as it could be and should be. If you're not happy, then service is out of question. You don't feel like any service at all. Service opportunities are there, but you're not stimulated. You don't feel up to it. You don't feel capable of being able to serve. And so I'm just thinking further about this whole thing of stability. Stable in my peace, stable in my purity, stable in my happiness. And here I am. A memory of sorrow comes up and it shakes my happiness. And never mind whatever is the upheaval that the world is going to be facing. These are all the upheavals that go on inside the self and create that instability within. I have to deal with the sorrow that I'm carrying in a conscious way. If there's something that I can remember, maybe it's a bit vague, but let me explore it. Let me try and understand it, and understand that there was significance in whatever it is that had happened. Was it some karmic account that was being settled? Maybe. Was it a lesson that I had to learn? Yes, definitely. Everything happens to teach me a lesson. And so what was the lesson that I learned? And if I haven't yet learned that lesson, well, is it time for me to say, yes, now I've understood and I'm able to let go of the sorrow. The lesson has been learned and I can put a full stop and say, Om Shanti. Or is it that I don't even know what it was and I can't forgive, I can't let go, I can't deal with it, I just don't know. And at that moment, how do I dissolve the pain? It's only through Baba's love. And so let me keep myself immersed in Baba's love. And today's Murli gave us a very beautiful answer. Baba talked about the immersion in the ocean of knowledge and not coming out for more than a moment. All the fishes and all the life underwater, they're there immersed and they pop their head up maybe for a moment, but then they go back down again. And it answered a question that I had, and that was, sometimes we don't always feel immersed in the ocean of love. What can we do about it? And so it's easy to immerse yourself in the ocean of knowledge. That's totally something you can control, in the sense that emerge Gyan and keep the Gyan very clearly emerged. Whatever topic it is you want, today's Murli, yesterday's Murli, a topic that you've thought about, something that's come up, just emerge that and let yourself go deep into that subject and be lost in that ocean. And the next thing that will happen is that, having been immersed in Gyan, you'll feel this amazing sense of gratitude and wonder at how much Baba has explained and how much Baba has given. And as a result of that, the love for Baba will emerge in a very beautiful way. Otherwise, just trying to think, well, yes, I know Baba's given me a lot, but this. It's going to be mixed. But from the Gyan, then the gratitude, then the love. And that pure love is so beautiful that it actually sorts out all the pain and sorrow, and it leaves the soul very clean. And so let me be able to finish whatever pain and sorrow it is I carry, so that I can have stability in my own stage of happiness. You can see when I'm talking about stability and the qualities, I'm essentially talking about the original qualities of the self, of the soul. And so there's peace, there's purity, there's happiness, there's love. Do I love myself? How much do I love myself? Why is it that I don't love myself? And how can I finish whatever it is I don't like about myself to be able to come to the stage where I can genuinely love myself? I can see what I was before, but I can see what Baba has made me today. And I know that all I have to do is continue holding Baba's hand, and I'll come to the stage that Baba wants me to have and I want to have for myself. And so that absolute guarantee that Baba will hold my hand and lead me from here to here. Baba loves me a lot. A question for you to ask yourself. Are you convinced that Baba loves you a lot? Not convinced? Well, just think about how come you are here in Madhuban and a huge number of people, 7 billion something, are maybe still in darkness and have no idea. Maybe they're searching, maybe they want, but beyond that, there's many who are not even interested. And yet, not only did you find God, not only did you decide to become a Brahmin, not only did you decide to follow a path that other people find a bit odd or a bit strange or a bit difficult, but you started following and you're here in Madhuban and you're waiting for the possibility of experiencing God's love and fortune, and you've already got God's love and fortune and you're waiting for more. So must be something to do with you and God, that you happen to be here and not the other 7 billion. So definitely out of all the souls in the world, Baba has a lot of love for his special children who know him and are ready to follow his directions. So Baba loves me. What is it that I'm not understanding about myself or accepting about myself that doesn't make me love myself fully? Let me sort that out. And when I can love myself, I'll never ever say, but nobody loves me. Because once I love myself, I find that I'm able to look at others with a vision of love. And when I start looking at others with a vision of love, then they're able to see me with a vision of love also. That is a fact. Many, many years ago, Daddy was mentoring a small group of Kumaris, like this must have been in the early 70s. And we would meet Daddy every day, and she was, at that time, physically unwell. I mean, it's God's grace that she's with us, because I've known her since 1957, and I've seen her very, very seriously ill many, many times. But she continues to give, no matter what the condition of the body may be. So all the blessings she's received and the help she's received is still keeping her here, continuing to serve. So she was not well, and she was staying in those rooms behind the history hall. Dadi Gulzar is on one side and Dadi Ratan Moini on the other side. So right at the back, that's where Dadi Janki used to be. Dadi Ratan Moini's space now. And we would come and sit around her bed, and she would share something with us, and she would ask us how we'd been, and this was a daily practice, fortune of being so close to Dadi. And one day, one of the sisters said that they felt that they were having a hard time because they couldn't feel the love of the family. They didn't feel anybody loving them. And so Daddy asked the question, how much do you love the family? And are you able to give love to them? And the sister became very quiet. And she nodded her head and said, I understand. And then, not immediately the next day, but a few days later, Daddy asked the question, are you feeling the love of the family now? And she said, yes. And Daddy said, what's different? And she said, because now I'm able to see the family with love. I can feel the love from the family also. And Daddy said, that's exactly what happens. But of course, before I can give love to the family, I have to be able to love myself. And so keeping a stable stage in love within myself, irrespective of what others are doing and saying, am I able to hold my vision of love for them? And so stability in love. Truth. On the one side, we get a glimpse of truth from time to time. Baba's Murli is filled with truth, but from time to time there's an insight that Baba gives us that opens up a door, and it gives us new realization, and we begin to understand things in a deeper way than otherwise. Baba said last week, again it was one sentence but it worked like that. Baba said, when you deeply understand drama, it's a sign of gambhirta, maturity. We usually use the word maturity for this word gambhirta, and it's a good translation. But what it also means is maturity, not just in the sense of worldly experience, but there's a depth within the soul. Nothing superficial, but very deep. When we describe mama, for example, that's the word we would always use, gambhir. And it doesn't just mean serious in a sense of no fun, but a real maturity and depth within the soul. And Baba was linking it with the understanding of drama. And so drama is true. And if I'm challenging drama, what's right? My challenge or drama? Drama is accurate, drama is true. And my challenge of drama is something that I have to sort out. I have to get back onto the track of drama. Drama is moving forward with total integrity and truth as it should be. Straight, straight, straight. And if I'm not understanding something that's happening in the drama, it's my lack of understanding. It's not that drama is wrong or that the drama is inaccurate. Can't be inaccurate. And so, what is there that I have to shift within my understanding to come back and align myself with the drama and the truth of the drama? And so, in little situations when drama does things differently to what I expect it to do, am I shaken by that? Well, have I moved away from the truth? Or where sometimes truth is a bit inconvenient, and so I prefer the path of comfort and convenience rather than the path of truth. So let me come to that point of stability where I'm able to follow drama and truth completely at all times. And the more I do this, the greater my happiness. Truth and happiness are very much linked together. Baba uses that expression that when there's truth, then you dance, because you're light and easy, no problems. Truly, the easiness of Raj Yoga comes in. So, when I said stability is like shorthand for me, it means, am I able to maintain myself in these original qualities of the soul, here and now? And so the controlling power. Yes, first it's control, in the sense that I'm learning to manage myself and hold on to those pure feelings and emotions and the state of consciousness that I want to be in, those original qualities. But then beyond that, as it becomes natural, and this is now my sanskar, I'm able to maintain this stage, then I'm not trying anymore, I'm not controlling anymore. This is now the stage of sovereignty, the stage of truly being the ruler of the self, the king. And so stability in making sure that all these qualities are there with me in a very emerged way all the time. And the two things of Maya that Baba mentioned step in to try and shake me from that stable state of being the ruler of my own kingdom. Laziness, and its companion, carelessness. Laziness and carelessness, both things come in together. So laziness, carelessness, which one comes first? I'm not sure. Because sometimes I see that we get a little bit careless and say, oh, it's okay, never mind, you'll do it like this rather than like this. Don't have to spend so much time studying the Murali. I've heard the Murali, it's enough. And so a little bit of carelessness. But I've heard the Murali, but have I spent time reflecting on the Murali? And if I haven't digested it. And so that carelessness and that lack of value for Baba's Murali, and you can see how, again, my intellect can very easily get distracted by many other things. But attention, and it's going to be fine. Or a little bit of laziness, and whether it's early morning meditation or whether it's evening meditation, whichever it is, but it's okay. I'm fine. I'm with Baba. I'm Baba's child anyway. Baba knows I love him. And so this the sort of conversation, or even the conversation in which I'm convincing Baba, you know I love you, don't you? But you know, I really just need to have that half an hour extra this morning. So we try to fool Baba. We're fooling ourselves, but we try to fool Baba also. But Baba is the intellect of the wise, so I should know that by now. Normally you wouldn't think of carelessness as a sin, or laziness as a sin. Anger, greed, ego, the 5 big ones, yes, you would put them into the category of sin even before Gyan. Lust we didn't even understand about, so that we didn't. But the other things, arrogance, all of those things we put into the category of sin. But laziness, we didn't actually think about it as sin. Carelessness, we think that, it's okay, we can play around a bit. But just imagine you're on a battlefield. A little bit of carelessness, you're gone. Literally, you're gone. And not just you, but your carelessness in the battle situation and its danger for you, but also everybody else around you, because it just opens up everything to danger. And I have to start seeing laziness and carelessness as the enemy in front of me, just as I see anger and greed and all those things really as my enemy. In the same way, because careless and laziness are a little bit soft and gentle, they come sweetly. So when Baba says royal Maya, sweet Maya, comes like an illusion, and it's going to be okay, just once, just twice, but it's dangerous. And so let me be very aware and alert, and once I see that that's what's happening, I can finish it, not allow it to take hold of me, because laziness and carelessness take hold of the soul in a very big way. So the inspiration for the coming year, I'd like to have stability in each one of my own original qualities, so that these truly become, again, emerged in a very natural way in my life all the time, not just sometimes, not just in Madhuban, but wherever it is I may go. And the second thing, in terms of relationships, just like to spend a few minutes on that also. The inspiration for relationships, I want to be able to experience contentment within myself, no matter what somebody else is doing or not doing, whatever. I should be able to have a heart that's big and open and accepting, so that I don't understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, but I can say, it's okay, and stay content with them. And if I'm not content with them, then my discontent is going to create vibration, and they're definitely not going to be content with me. It's going to reach them, and they're going to get a feeling of discomfort from me and discontent with me also. And I can change their discontent with me by making myself firstly content with whatever it is they say and do. And then that vibration of contentment will give them the possibility of accepting me also. Karma works on the subtle level of either seeing virtue in another and their being able to see virtue in me, or my seeing defect and weakness in another, and they're going to do the same. Karma works absolutely on that level. The way in which I see you is going to determine the way in which you see me. I criticize you, and I think I'm speaking to somebody here, but the echo goes around somehow and reaches you, and guess what's going to happen? I should be absolutely ready and prepared for it. Next thing, it's going to come back to me, you're criticizing me. And at that moment I feel pain and sorrow, but I forget that I started it. The boomerang has just come back. That's all that's happened. And so let me be able to see goodness, be content, accept another, and then I'll find that they're able to accept me for who I am and what I am. So in terms of relationships, and I see that, yes, of course, the 90% focus has to be on what's going on in here. But then the next thing is investment in relationships. And that's exactly what it is. The time and energy and attention I give to relationships and invest in that, I'm going to get the return of that definitely. And if I'm not ready to invest in relationships at a time when I need, nobody's there for me. And yes, I'm not depending on anyone, but in human life, there are things that you can't do alone. And so those around you can either at that moment reach out and cooperate and support, or they'll turn their back and say, well, you know, I've got other things to do. And so important to have that investment and contentment. And then the third thing that I want to touch upon, the inspiration for service. The self, relationships, and service. What Baba's asking of us now is the stage of karma yoga. I was noticing over the last week so many Sakar Muralis and Avyakt Muralis, both weeks running, they've focused on this idea of karmatit, coming to the stage where all karmic accounts are clear, and then there's only good karma, pure karma, and it's a stage of karma yoga, so that through the karma, there's the stage of yoga, and the karma yoga is able to serve others. So yoga separate, service separate, that's not how it is. But the service happens through the stage of yoga as I engage in karma. And so am I able to keep my link with Baba through all the other things that I do? It came up again in Sunday's Murli. Is it that my intellect gets busy, engrossed in something else? And you know how Daddy used to say, someone who says, I'm busy, is actually lazy. And when she first said this, there were many people who said, Daddy, what do you mean? What do you mean? And then you start reflecting on it and hearing how she explains it. It means that I'm saying I'm busy because I'm actually too engrossed in something, and I'm not giving proper attention and time to something that's more important. I'm too lazy to think about something which is of a higher level. It's easier for me just to say busy, busy, busy and stay on the mundane level instead of letting myself go higher and think of things in a different way. Then the things down here will get done. Nothing will stop. But my awareness on a higher level means that things will happen differently, and there'll be service through the way in which it happens. And so am I able to be a karma yogi? And through the karma yoga, the pure karma that I'm doing is going to be of inspiration, is going to be an example, is going to be one that actually does service. Instead of thinking, this is yoga, this is service, but through the yoga and the karma together, service automatically. So, stability, contentment in relationships, and karma yoga. So, 3 things for the new year. I'm sure Baba's going to give us beautiful things, but these are the things that I've been picking up over the last little while from Baba's signals. Have a very beautiful meeting with Baba, and have a wonderful stay in Madhuban. Great fortune that we're all together beginning the new year in Madhuban itself. And I'm sure next year is going to be interesting. That's all I can say. The world is going completely crazy. And Baba's work is moving in a very exciting way. Very powerfully, more and more subtle, more and more effective. So it's going to be very interesting. Om Shanti.